Well, good morning. The eve of the blood moon lunar eclipse it's going to be tonight. And so I titled this that Thomas Schoenberger and Lucien Greaves are the ones who connected Isaac Kappy to Nathan Stolpman. And I know that for a fact because they bragged to me about it. Thomas Schoenberger has been working with Lucien Greaves for years. Lucien Greaves now is going as Johnny Dub. He likes the name John Kilrush. You know, that's what he used to call himself. Now he's calling himself Johnny Dub. But they're all connected. And Johnny Dub, aka Lucien Greaves, is the one who's saying that he's selling military grade weapons to my sheriff's department and bragging and sending pictures of Cascade. I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but filled a bed full of fucking guns and took pictures of it because it was meant to be a threat. And but it's Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. And they're on Nathan's. I didn't even realize that Nathan Stolpman is doing stuff now again because he's not on YouTube. But someone sent me screenshots of something that he just did. And Skills is on there. And they mentioned my name and all of that. So they're all on there. Do I think that Nathan Stolpman is a bad guy? No, I never have thought that Nathan Stolpman is a bad guy. A dumbass with very little abilities for discernment. That's what I've always thought of Nathan. You know, he's too busy trying to make a name for himself that he never uses his level of discernment to figure out the people that he shouldn't be playing with. But Skills brought up my name. Skills is AKA Emily Thorne. You know, Emily Thorne isn't even the real name because Emily Thorne is the lead character off of a soap opera called Revenge. And so they're all connected. Lucien Greaves as Johnny Dub sends me a thing of, oh, we've turned you in for fraud. You know, I started thinking about it and I thought, you know, the funny thing about it is, how did that fucking stealing that laptop work for you, dumbass? Get a lot of dirt on me, did you? Because if you did, you'd be using that. You wouldn't be trying to turn me into Social Security like Thomas Schoenberger did and Iowa fraud complaint shit like you're threatening to do Lucien Greaves is. You know, let him investigate me. You know, I have $1 in my account, in my bank account. So they're going to find out that there's no fraud going on. But it's interesting because they thought they had me when they stole that laptop out of my house. But I don't do criminal shit. What they do realize is all of the shit that I have saved in the years concerning Lucien Greaves. Doug Mesner, a.k.a. Doug Masico, a.k.a. Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. You know? And what it tells me is that since Johnny Dub is the one who was saying that he was selling all of these weapons to the Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff's Department, who already has a connection to all of that because Brad Wendt was a deputy in Neil's department before he became chief of police of Adair. Now he's not chief of police anymore. He's in a federal prison for 60 months for selling military grade weapons. So that's how this all works. And I think that that's why Thomas Schoenberger freaked out. Oh my God, I didn't know Johnny Dub was Lucien Greaves. And so get behind me, Satan. Lucien Greaves and David Shurter are working together. Dude, you're the one who actually fucking bragged to me that you guys are the ones who sent Isaac to go deal with Nathan Stolpman. So you've been working together for years. The reason, let me remind you, Thomas, that you're the one who keeps adding that Chris, that blood diamond dude from Australia, and Johnny Dub, who's Lucien Greaves. You were the one who kept adding them to all of this shit. So they started targeting me. But who was I getting death threats from before the Earling, Iowa gas station explosion? Lucien Greaves, Doug Mesner. That's who was behind it. Doug Mesner laughed at me when I got to Earling, telling me they already set up before I even moved there. They were already waiting for me and made my life hell. I thought that they were talking about Lori, the city manager. They weren't talking about her. They were talking about they were involved with Neil. Shelby Out County, Iowa Sheriff, Neil Gross, and his department. That's who they were set up with. And so when the Earling, Iowa gas station explosion happened, who was sending me all the fucking death threats? Who was involved with all of it? Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. When I was in Algona, before I went to Earling, with that protection order that's in Kent, who was involved with all of those videos that were listed on that protection order? Because it didn't have anything to do with the petitioners. I never once mentioned the petitioners. They only and solely dealt with Doug Mesner, Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. So he was trying to get me when I was in Algona. Then I came to Earling, and he was making my life hell, going on and on and on. Again, he was using John Kilrush instead of Johnny Dubb. He likes the name John for some reason. So all those accounts that are out there, if it starts with John, chances are you might want to consider that it's Lucien. Doug Mesner, But they were involved, which tells me that Doug Mesner was also involved with what happened with Issac Kappy, because they were all involved. And that's the Satanic Temple is the connection to this. How are they trafficking the kids? They're using that Satanic Temple after school daycare bullshit. That's what they're doing. A year ago, last Christmas, who was the one who did that fucking dumbass shit at the Capitol? Doing the Baphomet statue when the military dude from Missouri came up and beheaded it. The Satanic Temple, Lucien Greaves. That's who's behind a lot of this stuff. Doug Mesner is the leak or the weak link in all of this. You start looking into him and the Satanic Temple, and especially the Satanic after school daycare bullshit, it's going to lead you to most of them. Who's involved in attacking me when Craig Sawyer and Russ Dizdar and Gabe Hoffman went after me when I was out in Washington? Lucien Greaves. Who lived 23 miles away from me in Tacoma, unbeknownst to me for 4 fucking years? Doug Mesner, Lucien Greaves. Who was connected to Ron Patton and that whole group in Olympia, Washington, of occultists and all of that? Lucien Greaves, Doug Mesner. Who's the one who pulled his dick and balls out and laid them on a gravestone for national media to take pictures of? Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. And so if that's all you got, dude, you're an idiot. Just saying. You think you're clever, you're not clever. This child trafficking shit needs to be investigated. It needs to be investigated. And Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, is heavily involved with it. And he's heavily involved with Thomas. Thomas and Lucien Greaves are the ones who bragged over and over and over that they were the ones who sent Issac or Kappy to go talk to Nathan Stolpman. Nathan Stolpman is a good kid. He's just not going to build any rocket ships to the moon. His level of discernment is nil as far as I'm concerned. Hey, Sherilyn. And they terrorized him. Who was involved? Issac Kappy, look at what happened to him. Look at what happened to Nathan Stolpman. Nathan is probably afraid. And Lucien Greaves, as Johnny Dub, tried to tell me that Skills was Nathan Stolpman's wife. Fucking stupidest thing I'd ever heard of. But that's what he said. I just sent all of those I sent the emails to all of the investigators and the police. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. You know, that's what I've done. And I'm not going to wear this because it's just driving me insane. I've been outside because it's going to be 70 degrees today. So I've been doing yard work outside. I wanted to come in, do this live. I want to do 3 a day or 3 a week. I did one on Tuesday. I like to do one on Tuesday. I like to do one on Thursday. And then I'll probably do one Saturday or Sunday. Maybe Saturday. Hey, VD, hello from Italy. Welcome. You guys have some shit going on because that super volcano is getting ready to explode. And that's in Italy. And now there's another volcano in Washington that hasn't exploded in 1,000 years, and it's getting ready to explode. Mount Adams, I think it was. I just read it just a couple minutes ago. You know? And so shit is going down. Tonight, we're having a lunar eclipse. It's a blood moon. Going to be seen all over the United States. Everyone's going to be able to see it. Central Time, 1:30. The best time to get is 1:30. 1:30 to 2:30 in Central Time is when you want to look at it. And there's a huge fucking storm coming. It's already in California and it's moving across. And great big tornadoes. That's what they're afraid of. It's going to hit the Midwest all the way from Chicago all the way down to St. Louis. Friday and Saturday. Nope, it's tonight. The eclipse is tonight. 13th to the 14th. So it's tonight. You haven't missed it. And it's a blood eclipse. It's a blood moon. The next one will be, what did they say, 2016? So, and we haven't had one for 3 years. And so, and I believe Italy is going to be able to see it too. I think the whole northern hemisphere is going to be seeing it, but they also said that South America is going to be able to see it too. It's you know, and what causes a lunar eclipse, especially a blood eclipse? The sun or the earth gets in between the sun and the moon, and that's what causes it. Yeah, there are a lot of earthquakes up and down the West Coast. And South California, South Cal is bad. And people are acting psychotic. Things are going crazy because we're at the end. We're in judgment. You know, we're in judgment. That's the reason why, you know, the last live that I did on Tuesday, Daniel Dowd called me and left a message on my voicemail. I didn't listen to it. So I sent it out to people. And what I got was, God, even his voice sounds slimy. Yeah, doesn't it? You know? Hey, Lavinia. Nice to see you again. I remember your name because your name is really pretty. But things are going crazy. What's ending up happening is that if you have the darkness inside of you, the energy that's happening right now, it's bringing it forward. It's bringing it forward. I think that things are being investigated. I think that Robert Carlson, who was giving me death threats at the very end of my last live, because he sent me an email too, you know, blaming me. He's going to jail, but it's my fault he's going to jail. I still don't get that. But I think that the police were, because I have cameras on my house, and the police have just been driving past my house over and over and over. I think they're just keeping an eye out, because if I end up dead or I end up disappearing, it isn't going to look good for them, you know? And it's funny because Lucien Greaves and Thomas Schoenberger and stuff all think that Neil is going to take a bullet for them. But let me point out, the dude threw his own kids under the bus to grandstand against someone that they were claiming was a violent paranoid schizophrenic, because that's what Neil's been telling people about me, is that I'm a violent paranoid schizophrenic. But he ended up throwing his own kids, told me how many kids he had, told me what sex they were, and grandstanded that he was a great dad while he threw his kids under the bus. If I'm a violent paranoid schizophrenic, why would you even bring up your children? And so he'll throw his own kids under the bus, but Thomas Schoenberger thinks that Neil's going to take a bullet for them. Lucien Greaves thinks he's going to take a bullet for him. He threw his own kids under a bus. You know? There is a relationship between atmospheric events and psychosis. There's definitely a connection between full moons and psychosis. Because what, we're 98% water, and look at it, and it affects the tides. And so it affects all of us. That's the reason why when you see nurses who work in emergency rooms, the emergency rooms are generally full during a full moon because it makes people crazy. And now we're having a blood moon, and a blood moon is a big deal. As far as the Luciferians and the devil lovers and shit like that, a blood moon is a big deal. And it is their go-to. You know, they call every survivor a paranoid schizophrenic or a liar. You know, every single time. That's their go-to. That's what they do. The issue that they have with me is that I am tenacious. I just won't stop. And I am. Lavinia is correct. I am protected by heaven. I have to be. There's no other reason to explain why I'm still here with everything they have tried to do. You know, notice that I don't have the brain fog this time. Last time I was so tired I had brain fog. And today, what ends up happening is that heaven lets me suffer for a while, and then it just clears it all up and makes it go away. So today I've been out raking leaves and getting my yard ready because it's springtime. It's supposed to be 70 in the 70s today, you know? And so they do fear me, and they hate everyone who doesn't get with the program. They want me to shut up, and that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I'm here for a reason, and I am supposed to be doing what I'm doing. But there has to come a time, I am hoping, where I can stop focusing on them and I can start focusing on the word. And what happens when you go with the word? Because right now, it's focused on them. The dark is getting ready to claim them, and they are going to experience every breathing moment they have experiencing heaven's wrath in the dark. They wanted this war with heaven. It's funny, they wanted this war with heaven. But before they do this war with heaven, they need to get the bonds to their souls back. So before they go to war with heaven, they have to march right into the middle of the fucking dark and take the bonds to their souls back. And since they're all gods, they tell themselves that they're gods. And there's so many of them, it should be easy peasy. Just march right into the dark and take it. Sorry, I'm drinking pink lemonade. I like lemonade. I like the tart. But Lucien Greaves and Thomas Schoenberger, it's all connected. It's all connected. You start investigating the Satanic Temple and it's going to lead you right to the Sewer Town Club, and all the little rats in Sewer Town. Daniel Dowd, Tara Joyce, Geo Farnsworth, Corey Daniel, his Sicilian witch or whatever the fuck she calls herself. You know, it's going to connect all of them. Gabe Hoffman. It's going to connect all of them. But whether or not they're connected or not, the darkness is here for them. You know, the darkness is here. The spiritual principalities that protected them don't protect them anymore. In fact, not only do the spiritual principalities not protect them anymore, they work for heaven. And the dark is heaven's. The dark contains heaven's wrath. And they're about to be fucking raptured, all right. They ain't going to like where they end up, where they're going to be raptured to, you know? And that's how it's going to work. The whole, you can't investigate me because I'm a Satanist, and that's religious discrimination. None of that shit is going to work anymore. That was all old Michael Aquino bullshit, and that doesn't work anymore, especially when the Satanic Temple goes on and on and on about how they're not Satanists, they're atheists. So what it means is that they're liars. That's Johnny Dub. He sent me out this email where he had all the list of names. He's Doug. He fancies himself Legion. They can be anything they want. They can be everyone and no one all at the same time. What they are liars. You know? Skills. How many names did that idiot have? Emily Thorne's Skills. And all they do is go after survivors. Anyone who comes out talking about their history being ritually abused, that's who they attack. That's their whole history. What does Lucien Greaves, what is he famous for? Going to Neil Brick's conference in Connecticut and going in and identifying and targeting victims. That's what they do. They have a long history of it, you know, a long history of it. And so Lavinia is a beautiful name, and they are deceivers. And I don't cower. Heaven calls us to take a stand fearlessly. We're meant to be fearless. So that's what I try to be. I don't always accomplish it. And there are times when I have low, you know, I'm in the valley and I have dark times of the soul where I question my faith because things get overwhelming. And they are a group. We are Legion. We are many. They are a group. Thank you, Sherilyn. I was born bright, not pretty. And sometimes my strength is out of spite. I will live to 200 years old and keep fighting just simply out of spite for them. You know, for me, it's not about forgiveness or redemption. They don't have any interest in forgiveness or redemption. So therefore, I want my focus to be about accountability and to heaven to give them retribution, because the stuff that they've done to so many people, not to mention children, they deserve it. Thank you, Lavinia. I'm very blessed. The fact that I went and tried to destroy the Gospels of Jesus Christ was probably the thing that saved me the most, because in going in and trying to tear it apart, I realized that the teachings of Jesus Christ were infallible. It is exactly how it works. You know, it's exactly how it works. And yes, someone when I did my last chat said, well, there's religions that are even older. Yes, there are. But the truth, it doesn't negate the truth that is attributed to our brother Jesus Christ on how to live the word. It doesn't negate any of that, you know? And they have to beat the dark before they can go march in to heaven. And the dark is heaven's. There's nothing that isn't our fathers. You know, the dark is our fathers too, just like the light is. The devil doesn't own shit. Covets stuff doesn't mean it's his, you know? But when it comes down to this child trafficking, the easiest, I think, way to actually deal with this is to investigate Doug Masico, aka Doug Mesner, aka Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, and his whole Satanic Temple bullshit. Because it will lead to all of them. It'll definitely lead to Thomas, because Thomas Schoenberger and Lucien Greaves, aka Johnny Dub, are completely connected. I just had to go through email after email after email. I will say that the shit has slowed down, you know, gratefully, because I don't feel like I have to waste all my days every day fighting it anymore, you know. There is a definite shift. There is a definite shift. And I can sleep, but I don't rest. I wake up I don't have rest, but of course they're hitting me with their directed energy weapon. Bullshit. And their little fucking meth head Georgie Porgy sits outside and smiles at me, trying to get me to engage with this dumbass. And I have no interest. You know? I have no interest. What would be the fucking point? You know? So when I'm outside, I put my earphones on. I'm having to go out today. I'm not dressed properly because I have jeans on, because it was 40 degrees this morning. But this afternoon it's supposed to be in the 70s. So I'm going to go out, rake my yard. I have flowers I have to transplant. I won't be doing that right now today because it's too early. But working with the earth and grounding myself with the earth is what I'm looking for today. So raking and cleaning up my yard is, you know, because I don't rake until the spring. I let the leaves just stay there until the spring, and then I usually clean them up in the spring. Get my yard all looking nice. And that's what I'm going to be doing. And so getting it connected. So with that said, I've actually said what I needed to say about these dumbass child killers. And so I'm in 28 minutes into this. And so I'm going to do what the hell I want, and I'm going to start talking about the word. You know, I'm going to start talking about why it is so, you know, aspire to inspire. I love that. Sherilyn was the one. Sherilyn said it wasn't hers. She heard it from someplace else, but I'm stealing it from Sherilyn because it says it all, you know? Compassion, love, empathy. Smile at people, you know? Open the door for people. If someone needs help and you see them need help, offer to give them help. Wish them a blessed day, you know? Show that you care, because what ends up happening is if you do that to someone, it may change their whole mental personality or their whole perspective, and then they would go out and do the same thing. It'll have a ripple effect. Just like evil has a ripple effect, so does good. And wouldn't you rather be on the good side of the ripple effect and actually do something, you know, when in Confessions of an Antichrist, the extended version of Rabbit Hole, I have a chapter where I explain how it works. So I'll do it. I'll say how I said it. So you're driving in a car and you cut someone off and you smile at them and you maybe flip them off or something. And it pisses off the woman in the car. And so she drives, and everyone that she's connected to, she's irritated. So she just spreads that around. And then she goes home and she gets into a fight with her husband. And it all stemmed because you cut her off and were a dick to her. So she gets into a fight with her husband, who in turn goes and yells at their son and screams at their son. And then the son, because the dad screamed at him, kicks the dog. How energy works is all the people that woman attacked, because you pissed her off, you have a responsibility to that energetically. When she goes and gets into a fight with her husband, because of your influence on it, you have connection to that energy with her husband. You have connection when the husband goes and yells at the boy. And the boy who kicks the dog, it all comes from the ripple effect of the shit you did. And you have responsibility to that. Whether or not you want to claim it, whether or not you want to even accept the responsibility, doesn't negate the responsibility. You are responsible. We are all responsible for the energy we put out. So wouldn't you rather like to have nice stuff? Wouldn't you rather like to be loving? You become loving, and then you give someone, and someone, it changes their perspective, makes their day a little brighter. Then they go out and they see someone and they make their day a little bit brighter. And then they go out and make another person's day a little bit brighter. Wouldn't you rather have that energy than the nasty shit? That's how it works. That's how it all works. We are all connected. It is. It's a series of events. It's a chain reaction. Cause and effect. It is a law of physics. And we are responsible for that. And really, when you cut someone off and you're a dick, you just end up closing your heart off, making your heart a little bit harder, a little bit harder. And in the end, in time of judgment, that's the issue. Men's hearts become stone because we just don't give a shit about each other. So you have to fight against that, and it takes conscious effort, because feeding into anger and feeding into fear and feeding into all of that stuff is so easy. It is being promoted with everything. And hey, Saki. So it's just better to actually do nice stuff, compassion, empathy, aspire to inspire, try to make a person's day brighter, because chances are they will go out and make someone else's day brighter. That's how it works. And we are responsible for the energy that we put out. You act like a dick, you're going to get the anger and strife and crap that you put out when you're in that mood is going to come back to you. And unfortunately, you send out your energy. Energy always returns. Our energy always returns. And so when you send out your energy, what it does is it arcs and it comes over your head and it gets faster and faster and faster and then hits you in the back. That's why we don't see things that are coming. And that's how energy works. That's how our energy works. So when you put the shit that's nasty out there, it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger as it comes behind you and then is traveling fast when it hits you. That's the reason why the most selfish thing you can do for yourself, know yourself, control yourself, and give freely of your time, energy, and love. That's the most selfish thing you can do for yourself. And it works. It's just a simple physics. It's just simple physics. That's how it works. And so wouldn't you rather be, I love tea. I love tea. I drink a lot of tea. A lot of tea with honey. All kinds of tea. Bengal spice is one of my favorite. And but I've been drinking some chamomile with lavender, and I've now started to branch out to green tea with matcha. It has a lot of stuff. It's called Refresh. And so I drink a pot of coffee in the morning, but then I switch to tea, and usually decaffeinated tea, even though I do love Earl Grey. I love a good black tea, you know? And cheap country time lemonade. That's what I'm drinking now. I like the pink lemonade the best. And so I drink a lot of fluids, a lot of water. I drink a lot of water all the time. Always have. But filling your hearts with love, we are at a period of judgment. And people really need the reinforcement to know that God is with us. And there's an army of us here. There's an army of us here. And we're all finding each other, because it's almost like a psychic thing that's being worked on by heaven. We're all starting to come together and support each other and remind each other what we are, who we are. And we're all getting to the point. I love Earl Grey too. And Constant Comet. Constant Comet was my mom's favorite. I love Earl Grey. And I hear that there's a delicious French Earl Grey. I haven't tried the French Earl Grey. I'm looking for it, but I haven't found French Earl Grey yet. But I talk to people who are out of the United States. And so the United States is a big coffee drinker, but a lot of people outside of the United States drink a lot of tea. And I actually like tea. And in the summertime, all I drink is iced tea. That's all I drink. Okay, I take it that's a tea. There's a jasmine tea. There is a restaurant in Omaha called Saigon. It's one of my favorite. It's a Vietnamese place. I know the family who runs it. When I lived in Omaha and I was with my other half, we ate there a couple times a week because I love Vietnamese food. And they have this jasmine iced tea that is out of this world. You may ask me any question you like. I love ginger tea. I love ginger tea, but I love ginger and I love lemon. But Lavinia, you can ask any question you want. I love questions. I love questions. Unless they're manipulative questions for attack, And I usually can see that, but I'm not worried about that with you at all. So you can always ask questions. This is nice because I haven't been. Someone told me recently, you haven't really been focusing on the chat lately. And it's true. But like last time, I was blocking. I've already had to block 2 people already today. And so I find that if I have something that I have to say, the chat ends up distracting me. And then I start talking and I don't focus on it. Oh, excuse me. It was early. And I took a bath this morning. That's why my hair is just now drying out. And I had it up because I'm outside raking leaves. I'm pretty easygoing. You can ask any question you want. You don't have to temper yourself. I try to be an open book. It's because we're supposed to lead by example. We're supposed to lead by example. Exactly, Sherilyn. It's fine. You can just ask. Sherilyn knows. Saki knows. You can bring up, I am my mom's son. My mom, you just never knew it was where the conversation was going to be. My mom was one of the funniest things is we had Father Schultz come to eat one time. He's not a priest anymore, but we were looking to join the church. And so we invited Father Schultz to the house, and I was taking care of my mom. She was living with us at the time. And the dinner conversation started by my mother looking at Father Schultz and saying, you know, if the church allowed abortions, we would find a lot less babies wrapped up in plastic thrown in trash cans and alleyways. And that's how the conversation started. And it digressed from there. She proceeded to tell Father Schultz how she wore this red dress because all the churches in town, because my mother had a beautiful voice and she sang in the churches. And she said she had a red dress because she was the church's prostitute to entertain the parishioners. My mom was a trip. At the very end of the dinner, my nephew was staying with us. So we went downstairs and I asked my brother to, or I asked my nephew to get me high because I couldn't take my mom. So we left Father Schultz with my mom alone. God only knows what the conversation was. But then when I went upstairs, I asked Father Schultz, do you want to go outside and see the garden that I planted? And so he was just like, oh, don't bother. Don't worry, Lavinia, about overstepping. If you overstep, I'll tell you I don't want to answer it. How's that? You know? Ask any question. No question is stupid. It's, you know, and there really isn't. If you need to know and you want to know, ask, you know? If I know the answer, I'll tell you. So I invite Father Schultz out to go look at the garden. So he looks at the garden, and I swear to God, after he looked at the garden, he ran to his car. And then when he got to his car, he got this look of just being deflated because he remembered that I had made a dessert for him to take back to the nuns at the church. So he had to go back in to the house and say goodbye to my mom. And so he did that, and I gave him the dessert. And then the very next day, I called him up to thank him for coming to dinner. And he said, I am sitting here with the nuns having dessert, your dessert, and we're talking about your mother. That's why I wouldn't let my mom go to a nursing home, because I knew that my mom would be one of those people they would be mean to, because my mom was just, she was a trip. She was in the hospital one day, because she was always in and out of the hospital. And I was with a friend, and we didn't know what room she was in. And we're walking past, and I heard a nurse on the phone say, the person in room so-and-so is sending their dinner back. They said it was inedible. And I look at my friend and said, I know what room my mom is in. So we walk in. You can tell I'm missing my mom. But we walk in to her room, and I look at my mom and said, did you just send your meal back? Mom looked at me and said, yes, it was inedible. I couldn't even eat it. She was a trip. She was a trip. Oh, all right. You is spoiled. I don't need you on my lap. Oh, I do not need you on my lap. Oh, you're causing earthquakes. You is causing earthquakes. They just need to have my attentions all the time. Share, like, and subscribe. Yes, she does. They all do. They want to go outside. But she hates it when I do these things because she likes my attentions. Would you quit? She likes my attentions. That's the reason why they're always threatening my dogs. And so they're very spoiled. I will tend to you in a minute. You big brown eyes. You big brown eyes. My big black pig. Use my big black pig. Always wanting some food. She she just can't get enough, you know? Well, you could come up if you got out from underneath the table. No. You have to wait. You have to wait. You have to wait. So, this one's been fun. I'm going to pray, guys, because I like to keep these at an hour. And they want to go outside. It's beautiful outside. I've been outside raking. And so they just can't get enough love. Stop. I'm going to pray. Okay. Father and Mother, we come to you as your children. We thank you for this day bringing us together. I ask that people hear what I have to say and that they fill their hearts with love and remind themselves that your grace is all around us and it envelops us, and people, you know, we're very grateful. And we're in hard days where there is a lot of fear and a lot of strife. And because there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anger. And it's difficult to deal with that. But we ask that you shield us from it so that it does not affect our hearts. So that we are able to still lead by example and live the word and share love and compassion and empathy with others. And we are grateful that you sent our brother, your son, Jesus Christ, down to share the word with us and lead by and teach us how to lead by example. We're grateful that we have all of each other and that you're bringing us all together in a way that is empowering all of us and reminding us of why we're here, because each one of us have our own mission. And it's different, and yet it all involves the word and glorifying your name and glorifying the word. And we glorify your name best when we live the word and lead by example, like your son, our brother Jesus Christ, taught us. And as we are in these rough days, keep us strong, keep us powerful, protect us as best that you can. And even those times when we experience pain and strife, remind us that you are not behind us, you are right beside us. And we say these things lovingly and gratefully. In your son's name, our brother, Jesus Christ. Amen. And so, I have a feeling this summer is going to be very hot. I have a feeling this summer is going to be, it's going to be 77 degrees today. And so, and it was just 30, a week ago? This weather is bizarre. And now, like I said, the lunar eclipse, the blood moon is tonight. Central time, the best time to see it is 1:30. Between 1:30 and 2:30 Central time. I looked it up this morning. But if you're on the East Coast, the best time is 12:30 to 1:30. And Pacific time, it's what? 3:30 to 4:30. And Mountain time. Sherilyn, I will talk to you soon. I will talk to you soon. Keep me abreast of what's going on. Keep the faith, you know? And that's just it. It's the winds. The winds and tornadoes. They're saying that there's going to be a lot of tornadoes. Where the weather is already bizarre. It's in Southern California, but it's moving across the United States. And tomorrow they said that it will be from Chicago all the way to St. Louis. That's where the problems are. I probably will get up to see the eclipse. I probably will. You know, I'm sorry the Mormon Church ruined your life. I got baptized Mormon when I was out in Washington, but it was only because I wanted to be baptized underwater, and the Mormons presented themselves. But I will say that it was really bizarre. I lived in a neighborhood for 10 years. Never once did a Mormon ever come to our door until I was in the throes of a divorce. When I was at the lowest point, all of a sudden the Mormons showed up at my door. And in the end, out in Washington, they got mad because they tried to control my life. They tried to take over my life. And then they wanted me to wear their magic underwear, and I wasn't wearing their magic underwear. That the Freemason crap all over their underwear, I was not wearing that. And they were like, well, you have to wear the magic underwear to get into the temple. Well, then I don't want to get into the temple. Because if I'm having to wear devil shit all over my underwear, God only knows what's happening in that temple. I had no interest. I had no interest. It was like a cult, you know? And then every last Sunday, it was Testament Sunday for the Mormon Church. And my sister and my nephew came, and I ended up taking them to church with me. And they just happened to be in that day. And so people would give their testament, and then every time people finished it, they would say, I know that Joseph Smith was a real prophet of God, and the Church of Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ is the real Church of Jesus Christ. They all said that after everything. I would get up and testify because God has always been working in my life, but I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say anything about Joseph Smith, and I'm not going to say that the Church of Latter-day Saints was the real Church of Jesus Christ. You know, I find that the church, God is within us and all around us, in our hearts, not in a church, not in buildings made of wood or stone. It's in our hearts, and that's where I find. And so I wasn't going, because doesn't every church claim they're the one? You know, we're not in Kansas anymore, but we're not really in Oz either. The poor animals outside. And I seem to be attracting animals. Omaha Police Chief Owen. I don't know who the Omaha Police Chief is anymore. The only Owen I know is the Owen that was connected, my brother-in-law, basically my best friend that they just murdered a year ago last February, 1988. I didn't really, in Omaha during the 80s with Franklin, the Mormon Church wasn't involved. Not that I knew anyway, but the Catholic Church was heavily involved. Father Flanagan, Boys Town, that was heavily involved. All of the whole Catholic Church was involved, you know? And so there is a Mormon division, obviously, but the Catholic Church was heavily involved. Father Flanagan and Boys Town, heavily, heavily, heavily involved. And that was what, you know, surprise, surprise. The church that has lost, what, billions of dollars because victims have sued them, were involved with the child abuse that was going on in Omaha, Nebraska at the time. You know, it's not that much of a shock. I love big glasses like this, but I have to tell you, this glass is heavy as all get out. This glass has to weigh 5 pounds, it seems. But I figure, like, especially with iced tea, if I'm going to drink a glass of iced tea, I want a big glass of iced tea. But And Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, wants to say that I had no place in anything in Omaha, blah, 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 blah. All of that is bullshit. He just lies. How many names does he have? Obviously, he's a liar. You know, doesn't even go by his own name. He's just a liar. Lie, 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 lie. And then gets mad when people point out his lies. Because they're so obvious, you know? But again, Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, is working with and has worked with Thomas Schoenberger for years. By their own admission, they were sending me emails, just bragging about it, you know? And Lucien Greaves now obviously isn't just trafficking kids, he's trafficking weapons too. He's the one who was threatening me before the Earlin, Iowa gas station explosion blew up. And Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross knew that because he was getting all the emails. I was sending all the emails to Neil, thinking that Neil was helping me, not realizing that Neil was not helping me at all. And so now I don't do that. Now I send the emails to a bunch of people, just tons and tons and tons of people, everyone I can figure, anyone I can think of. But like, subscribe, and share. This is a pretty good. I'm gonna get ready to end it because 56. I have like 3 minutes left. I like to keep them at an hour. People will watch them if they're an hour. But like and comment, you know. But like, subscribe, share. Anybody who wants a book, $30. I got nominated for Book of the Year. My PayPal and my Venmo are D Shurter. I have one that I have to send out still, but when I went to Omaha to go check FedEx, I was so pissed off at how expensive it is to send those damn books that I didn't do it that day, and it's been sitting in my back seat, and I completely forgot about it until I had to put my seats down to put bags of leaves in there. So I haven't forgotten. I will get it out. I just have to wait to get some money. Right now I have $1 to my name. You know, kind of sucks. Anybody who wants to donate goes to bills. It goes to bills and food. Because like I said, I have $1 to my name. But don't feel like, you know, I'm demanding or I appreciate everything. Sometimes I get donations. A lot of times I don't. I just figured that God will provide. I have another one up here now. They are just pining away from my attentions. Aren't you, my little bear? I have a boy who looks just like a little teddy bear. He's my little teddy bear. They're very loving. Aspire to inspire. Go make someone's life a little bit brighter for having you in their life today. Make it a goal. You know, make it a goal. Fill your hearts with as much love and share it with as many people as you can. And show compassion and empathy. Turn away from fear. Those people who make you feel bad or less than, dismiss them. You take out the trash. You don't play with it. And the people that are trash, the people that are out, that are dead set in making you feel less than, you're never going to win their approval. So stop trying. You know? You'll never win their approval because they don't feel like they have others' approval. That's the whole thing. A lot of times when they're being a dick to you, it's not even about you. They're not even thinking about you. They're just angry because it's their own inadequacies that they're fighting against. And you have to remember that. Stop taking other people's bullshit personally. even if it's directed at you personally, chances are, if you watch them, when they're done aiming the shit at you personally, they're going to go find someone else and aim it at them personally. So you can't really take it personally. Miserable people like miserable company. That's how it works. And you just bless them and move on. You know, don't let it affect you. Easier said than done. Trust me. Easier said than done sometimes. But it can be accomplished. And just try to be as loving as you possibly can. There is an army of us here. I am not the only one doing this work. I'm just one. I'm just a servant. It's not even about me, you know? The things that I'm telling you guys, especially what I've told you in here, it's stuff you already know. You know, I'm just reminding you because that's what our job is, to remind each other and support each other and care about each other. And that's what I hope all of us end up doing for each other, is giving each other support and caring about each other. You know, the evildoers are about ready to get theirs. You know, don't envy them, because what's ahead of them, they're too ignorant and narcissistic to actually see it. They don't see what's right in front of them. Pity them and do everything you can to make sure that it's not in front of you. And the best way to do that is to fill your heart with love. Fill your heart with love. Watch out for the weather this weekend. Set your alarms and get up and go look at the blood moon tonight. You know, again, Central Standard Time, it's 1:30. 1:30 to 2:30. That's the best time to see it. And so go from there. East Coast is an hour before. Mountain Time, an hour afterwards. Pacific Time, 2 hours after that. So, you know, 12:30 on the East Coast, 1:30 Central Time, 2:30 Mountain Time. Pacific Time is 3:30. And so just go out, you know, we won't see it for another till the end of 2026. Otherwise, you can live stream it and there'll be lots of pictures. I'm sure people will have, it'll be all over the internet tomorrow. But we were told in the end that there would be signs in heaven, in the heavens. And that's what we're seeing. We're watching the stuff play out. We're at judgment. We are judgment. The reaping is right before us. And fill your hearts with love. Redemption is still on the table. The minute after you take your last breath, redemption is no longer on the table, and it becomes about accountability. And for many, retribution. So fill your hearts with love. Save your souls. You know, it's the most selfish thing you can do for yourself. Know yourself, control yourself, and give freely of your time, energy, and love. That's how it works. And so, with that said, I'm going to end this. It's been a pleasure, guys. This has been a fun one. I love it. And Lavinia, you never asked your question, you know? If it's not, if your questions don't have ill intent and you're not trying to actually piss me off, I'm open for all questions. You know, I like questions. How do we learn unless we ask? And hopefully I'm here to help instruct and remind, because it's not really even instruction. Most of us know the answers. We just need to be reminded of those answers. And that's how it works. And each one of us will have low points. I definitely have low points at a time. That's why we need each other, to get us through those low points and remind us of why we're here and why we are on the path that we are on. don't be like these idiots, you know? Don't be like these idiots, because their lives are a misery. And unfortunately, it's because of what they do, and they deserve it full-heartedly. So with that said, I'm out of here. I will see you guys this weekend. I'll be back on this weekend. So, ciao, guys. Watch the blood moon. Be careful of the weather. This weekend's going to be hellish. So, keep it in mind.